Well, Bobby, my boy, I tell you, Bobby, Atelier, Bobby, Atelier Resleriana, my boy, I tell you.
僕はスタイルウェイジェネレーション階段を上がれ上がれそして越えますか繋がれますか僕の声の上がるしかないよな Stay away
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Before we begin with this review, there is an elephant in the room for fans of the series. This game is the second half that makes up the 25th mainline Atelier entry. It shares its setting with Atelier Reserliana, Forgotten Alchemy and the Polar Knight Liberator, and directly follows on from that game, but with a different main cast of characters. Forgotten Alchemy and Polar Knight Liberator was a live service gacha game that seemed to flop completely in the West. In Japan, it launched in 2023 for PC, iOS and Android, and is still running. The global version, however, lasted from January 2024 to March 2025, and never reached its story conclusion, leaving fans burned and without full context. From what I can gather, it felt like a pretty clear cash grab to Western Atelier fans, especially with the game being advertised as a mainline entry, while really being semi-inspired gacha slop. The Red Alchemist and White Guardian, herein referred to as simply Resleriana for simplicity, features new characters and stories set in Lantana, the world from the gacha game. And it really does serve as the second half of the 25th Atelier game. Some of the environments, gameplay elements and models, etc. are directly taken from that previous live service title. An admission on the game's own official website where it explains the gacha game was restructured into a new title. It would be remiss of me not to mention the game's gacha origins, but thankfully the new Resleriana is a complete game up front, no gacha in sight. I can understand why Western Atelier fans may be skeptical or feel scared to take the plunge after what was previously pulled with A25. Once bitten, twice shy, after all. Let me assure you, this is a real game for real gamers, and if you were worried that Resna Sternenlicht would stay stuck in the gacha and never be seen again, you'll be seeing quite a lot of her here and there, so don't worry. Actually, in terms of fan service, this might be the Atelier game that brings back the series fans who were hurt by the gacha game's closure. Forgive pronunciations here. Raze from Manakemia 2, Wilbel from Atelier Asia, Totori from Atelier Totori, and Sophie from Atelier Sophie are all playable team members. And it doesn't end there. According to the website, there's a metric ton of other recurring and returning characters who offer quests or who briefly join you to teach you the secrets of alchemy. Series fans are eating with this one. But most of these references were wasted on me. While I've known of the Atelier series for years, tangentially as a fan of Koei Tecmo's Warriors games, and through seeing the games here and there in shops, I've never played a single Atelier game for long. I own Atelier Maruru, The Apprentice of Ireland, Atelier Asia, The Alchemist of Dusk, and Atelier Rorona, The Alchemist of Ireland on PlayStation 3, but I've never really sat down with any of them. You know, they're big games, and I'm far too busy to play them. Oh, what was I busy doing? Browsing Gelbora or whatever, I don't owe you an explanation. The most I played of any Atelier game previously was a 30-minute PS Plus trial of Atelier Sophie in complete Japanese, and that's it. Therefore, Resleriana is my introduction to the series. I had this impression that the Atelier series is a low-stakes, relaxing kind of cozy RPG with little to worry about, with stories that revolve around what kind of tea to have with your jam and cream scones or something like that. And while the series is, for the most part, laid back. From the 13 plus hours I've put into Resleriana so far, it's incredibly apparent to me now that these games are much more involved than they look. Am I a convert? Maybe not. But I am willing to go back to the older games at some point. My curiosity has been well and truly piqued. Let's jump into the setting and story. So as I explained, this shares a continuity with the Gacha game, taking place in the land of Lantana, in a world where alchemy has been forgotten for over 150 years. A couple of decades ago, a disaster befell the town of Halfane. This red mist brought monsters into the town, and it suffered heavy losses, including the life of a beloved grandpa who ran the local shop. He barely made any money, but that didn't matter. He was the life of the community, and with him gone, the town soon followed. You play as his adopted daughter, Rias Iderese. She's got red hair and animal ears, and a habit of making everybody around her worry due to her troublemaking nature. Kinda get Naruto vibes, you know? Adopted, troublemaker, animal-esque. Rias overhears a conversation taking place between her sister Camilla and assistant Randolph, who mention ruins that had just recently been discovered. Eager to explore them ahead of time and find stuff to sell for chump change, Rias soon finds herself in more danger than she had initially bargained for. She is rescued by a young man, Slade Clawslither. He's out looking for his father who went missing, leaving behind a mysterious book filled with blank pages and a broken Geist core, one of these things. Together, Slade and Rias defeat a stone guardian and discover an atelier, a place where the lost art of alchemy used to be practiced. Rias discovers that she has an inexplicable knack for alchemy, and the story progresses from there. Rias does some growing up, so to speak, deciding to use her new alchemy skills to restore the town to its former glory, revive her grandfather's once thriving business, and put Halfane back on the map. Over the course of the game, Rias and Slade meet wanderers from other worlds, or should we say, other games. Learn the secrets of alchemy from them, and work together to defeat a creature that is somehow connected to the disaster that originally led Halfane to ruin. Between the story moments, Rias and Slade create items for townsfolk using alchemy, turn the once shut-down Mistletoe Miscellaneous into a well-stocked shop full of alchemic trinkets, and generally bring the town around from raised rubble to a booming hub of activity. Cozy, whimsical, cute, padded, maybe in terms of game length, but I really mean padded as in no sharp edges. Resleriana pulls all its punches, at least in the 13 hours I've played. It's not overly difficult, nor does it present any pressing or perilous moments, at least yet. So what kind of game is it? It's a JRPG, unabashedly so. Losing my Atelier virginity here, but I was pleasantly surprised to learn this is a turn-based RPG. The battle system features a front row and back row system, where you can switch characters in or out, adding extra moves to a turn and switching out who's in the field. You can also have a front row member attack alongside a back row member in order to combine attacks. There is a surprising amount of depth, most of which I actively choose to avoid by simply power leveling my team. Yeah, I'm one of those JRPG players who brings level 30 to an area recommended level 10. You can explore Halfane and its surrounding areas, or step into dimensional paths, which are randomly generated dungeons with particular enemies and items within them. To access these, you need to use a Geist core, like the broken one Slade has, except, you know, not broken. Each path you complete results in unlocking more passages in Slade's mysterious book, so in other words, the truth behind the disappearance of Slade's father is bound to be found in these strange, forgotten paths between worlds. Each enemy you defeat and each environmental object you harvest provides you with alchemy ingredients. These have a dual gift colour, for example green, red, yellow, blue, and a letter grade related to their quality. These factor into the process of creating items using alchemy, where specific ingredients can be linked together by gift colour, improving the result. You can make consumable items, tools, equipment, or other alchemic ingredients, or morph a recipe to create more powerful items. It really is satisfying to keep a recipe morph going and going, unlocking the entire recipe tree at once. Shortly into the story, you unlock the ability to hire fairies. These can work at your store to arrange items where the gift colour can be linked to make more money, keep the store tidy, provide customer service, and process transactions. There is a cost in hiring them, but the greater their level and the better their skills, the more customers you'll attract, and the more expensive you can make your items. It's kind of like Racketeer if you're familiar with that game, except customers can't haggle with you over the prices. Running your store is just one of the ways you rebuild the town. There are also orders you can complete, kind of like side quests, which are repeatable and give good rewards. These also provide some town EXP. It genuinely feels rewarding to see the town take shape as you progress. More shops open, more people turn up, the streets are clean, the buildings are fixed, and you did that, you know. You made the town better for everyone. As you battle or complete these orders, you earn SP. These points are shared across all team members and are used to unlock new skills and traits. As you progress through the story, more skills become available to unlock, slowly filling out the team's skill tree. Bog standard stuff. I'm still on my first playthrough, and I'm really taking my time with it. I'm happy to see the game has already got a few patches since its release last month, including a fix for the recently discovered Unity code exploit. GUST is hot on fixing the game's biggest issues, many of which revolve around endgame dungeons I haven't yet reached. I'm sorry that this episode wasn't much more than a look at the game's mechanics. I don't really need to discuss the art or sound design because the quality of these speaks for itself, and I'm cautious of ruining any parts of the story, considering that so far very little has happened in 13 hours of playing. That's an Atelier game for you. They're slow-paced by design. I think series fans who were on the fence or felt stung by the closure of the global Gacha game should jump into this title and get stuck in immediately. But newcomers to the series have a whole slew of PS3 and PS4 games that are probably much cheaper and act as better starting points, as Resleriana does expect the player to have some knowledge of the series and characters, where I do not. I have, on occasion, felt like I'm missing out on an important reference here and there, but I haven't struggled to follow the story. I just feel like I'm missing out on some quality jokes and references due to not having played the previous games. So yes, a cautious recommendation to people who have yet to play an Atelier game, since you'll be in the same boat as me and feeling a little bit lost in terms of references, but an incredibly strong recommendation for series fans, as this title shamelessly features beloved characters extensively. This has been SushiBites. Thanks for watching.